It's 1965. Lyndon B. Johnson is president. The Dodgers are World Series champions. The sun is shining and you are hungry. Very hungry. You have a lot of options, but then you remember that guy who sells snacks out of the trunk of his Dodge Dart. Yeah, that's what you're craving. Warm trunk snacks. Little do you know that questionable snack peddler would become none other than the famous Uncle Ray, and that his face would be on bag after bag of salty snack across America. That's why we should all begin teaching our children that when we see a man selling edibles out of his car, they should approach him, ignore his mischievous grin, and wait patiently for him to ask, "You tried that?" You tried that. We're back. Trying more snacks. I'm Nick Novak with my pals Chad Hancock.
What up?
And Nick Geiger.
Hey, everybody.
And guys, I had a question I needed to ask. There was an incident at my work this week. There's this process where you sign up for what's called a Friday breakfast. If you want to partake in the chance to bring breakfast and then eat the free breakfast every other Friday. So you end up bringing it maybe 3-4 times a year.
I'm on board. I like breakfast.
Yeah, it's a great plan.
Breakfast is
It's
good.
amazing. So it's 80% of the people sign up for it. You either sign up for it or you don't like anything fun. That's pretty much the choice. So
Wait, so you have to bring in, is it sort of like a potluck kind of thing? Like you don't know what people are going to bring in, or is it like, oh, this week you have to make omelets for everybody?
they put you in a group of 3 or 4, and then you coordinate something between the 3 or 4. Some people they do a quick email and say, you bring bagels and I'll bring juice or whatever. And a couple times I've been with a group where we really got into it and did like a baseball breakfast where we brought in a hot dog steamer and things. So sometimes it can get a little more complex than others. But
hot dogs for breakfast, huh? Yeah,
that's right.
It's like breakfast sausage.
The poor man's breakfast sausage.
So sometimes we really get into it. But this past week, I showed up and the break room was bare. And there was damn near a riot because you plan differently when you know that there's going to be a big breakfast waiting for you. There'll probably be leftovers at lunch. So I was upset. People were upset. Is this in moral court here? Is it okay? Was I justified in my anger at no breakfast? Because the people had flat out forgot it was their turn.
That's what I was going to ask. Did they forget or did they intentionally just say, oh, screw it, I'm over Friday breakfast?
They just flat out forgot that it was their turn.
I think you're okay to be disappointed. Mistakes happen, right? I mean, are these good people in general, or do you like these people?
There was 4 of them. I generally like them, but I don't anymore.
I think they would be dead to me, for sure. Like, I would have nothing to do with any of these people. I would probably murder at least 3 members of their families.
It would probably be irritating. Well, you didn't eat any other breakfast because you planned on getting your sustenance from this event. And then when there's nothing there, now you're ravenous. Now you're like rooting through the fridge and just drinking ketchup and whatever happens to be there, right? Is that what happened?
Yes, I dug through my desk and found some dusty old granola bar and just angrily chomped it.
You started by licking the dust off of the package. I'll take anything I could get. Is it better that they just completely forgot, or would you have rather that they remembered with like 5 minutes to go and just random McDonald's and bought like a bag of McGriddles or something?
That would have been great.
That would have been much better.
I think I'd rather not eat breakfast than eat McGriddles.
The thing is that these people are down there week after week partaking in my breakfast that I've brought.
Right.
So you have some responsibility when your turn comes up. And everyone's relying on you.
What did you do for this breakfast? Like, name some of the lengths you've gone to provide breakfast in the past.
I usually am part of a group that does a slightly better, more coordinated, funnier thing. Like, we'll put some props up and things. Like, we have a group of guys, and it's not a male-dominated workplace. So we did like a college breakfast where we had cold pizza and like some themed stuff like that. But some people have really get into it, and they cook and do crock pots and things like that. So it gets pretty complex, but there's also super lazy people. And I've been that sometimes where I grabbed M&amp donuts on the way into work and whipped them on the table.
And how many groups are there? Like, what's the rotation? Are you once a month, every other month? Like, how often does your
Probably
turn
once every 3 months. So it's not.
Oh, these people have such a low commitment. It's like
Exactly.
once a quarter?
Right.
Punch him in the face. Who alerted them to that, or did they send an email out like copping to it immediately when they realized?
Well, it's one of these things where the word slowly starts to get out. One of my friends just sent me a text with their names and then 3 dots after it. And I'm like, what's before I had ever gotten to the break room.
And you knew exactly what that meant. There's no breakfast.
I knew you found that guy who was slowly putting lipstick on and polishing a gun.
As I was walking from to the break room, I had to go down and see it for myself. But there were just, I'd pass somebody with their head down, shaking their head, and then someone would say, "There's breakfast in there," and then the next person, "Hey, there's no breakfast today." So it definitely was the talk of the building. My buddy who had sent me the names, he was rummaging through the freezer because he keeps food in there, and he was just heating up some chicken breast that he had. It was a chicken breast, and I'm like, you should head to one of their rooms and just be holding this chicken breast in your hand and just start mouthing the thing and wait for them to ask why you're eating that for breakfast and say, "Oh, funny you should ask."
This is what you've reduced me to, and you just slowly take a bite.
It is funny, like in office, like when you, I don't know, we all work in an office of some sort, and like when like the coffee delivery, at least at my office, like if like the pea pod, they have a big pea pod delivery like once a week, and if it doesn't, like if all the granola bars get eaten too fast, or like it's a day delayed and people don't have enough bananas or coffee, like people just get all like shitty and surly with people. It's like, you're a grown adult, just eat some food.
I'm not a coffee drinker, and we will be trying a coffee thing later, but was once in the break room when the coffee was not made in the morning when people got in from the large coffee thing. And it was like became Lord of the Flies really quickly, where people were kind of getting mad, and the custodian walked in and yelled, "Let's be civil."
Everyone at my work is just an absolute spoiled brat. I mean, I've talked about before that like we get a lot of free snacks, many of which we've tried on this podcast. But if there's a situation where like the snacks are understocked or something like that, people will just go apeshit. And they have an internal forum where you can complain about the food or just talk about the food, but it just turns into a bunch of food complaints. I remember one instance, we stock our micro kitchens with hot beverages, right? So they have Coke and Pepsi and Mountain Dew and all these other different things. But one time some executives from Coke were visiting. And so just for that one day only, they took all of the Pepsi products out of the building that executive was going to visit. Now, there's a bunch of other buildings, and all of them still had the Pepsi products. But just for that one building, it was just only Coke products just for that one day. And the absolute outrage from people. Like, there was emails where, like, we've totally sold out to to Big Soda or whatever. And I remember they have like a weekly meeting that's for the whole company where people can stand up and ask questions. And one guy was like, "How could we do that? We've compromised our values." And he almost breaking down into tears. And everyone else is just standing there, like, looking at this guy like, "Dude, just walk to the next building and get a Pepsi."
That corporate stuff is always weird. We had a similar situation, only in the reverse, where somebody from my company was on site at Pepsi, and we were trying to win their business. And they had grabbed a water from the hotel, and like the hotel had put their own like label on it and stuff. But I think it was made by, was it Aquafina, that it's owned by Coca-Cola or something like that?
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, one of those. I don't know. And there was a small little Coca-Cola like logo somewhere on the label, and she was just absent. She didn't realize. And she walked in, she started drinking it, and somebody from Pepsi, like a building manager or security, like quietly came up to her and asked her to throw it away, like during the meeting, because like they didn't want any like competing product in the. And then I get it at one hand, and the other hand, it's like there's enough room for both of you guys. Like, like this one bottle of water is not putting you under.
The main point, or the thing I just found funny, was they can riff us and give us poor health care and everything, but we'll take it. But for the love of God, please just bring us our Friday breakfast.
Yeah, did anyone stop to check if those 4 people had just been laid off that day? You guys were all screaming at them. They're like,
I don't care.
If it's your last day, you better bring in breakfast anyways.
Packing up their desks. Better be some eggs in there. Just screaming at them.
We're gonna start partaking in some snacks, but Geiger, you had a funny incident in mailing out some of these. Well,
Yeah.
Actually, with one of these chips that's coming up, there was a funny incident where it exploded in Chad's box, but also when you were at the post office.
A little behind the scenes knowledge for you guys. This is how the podcast is made. Novak and I live in the same general area of Illinois, but Chad lives in an undisclosed location in California.
San Francisco.
It's in San
I just
Francisco.
disclosed it. I've disclosed it many times in the past.
And when he's not pilfering fruit from strangers on Craigslist, we'll take turns getting snacks for everybody. And so obviously Novak and I need to mail ours to Chad. So I'm at the post office and I'm mailing this big bag of snacks, or big box of snacks, just packing like chips and candy and like health bars and whatever else we put on this podcast. One of which, as Novak mentioned, that we're going to review today, the Uncle Ray's chips exploded in the box. So enjoy those stale, crumpled chips. But there was a long line at the post office when I went, and I'm packing up the box, and this nice old man who clearly, and he looked like the most grizzled old man, like straight out of Hollywood casting, wearing like a Land's End jacket and like an old baseball hat. He turned to me and he said, "I bet you could make a lot of money selling those snacks to everyone in line, huh?" And I started laughing. I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't think of that." He goes, and then he goes, "Is that for a serviceman?" And I panicked because I didn't know what to. Nope, just sending these to my adult friends so we can talk about them on Skype. And so I just, without thinking, just went, "Yep." I then felt immediately horrible now because I don't mean to, I had a lot of respect for our troops.
Hey,
so then in my head, I'm going,
thank me for my service. Thank me.
Well, and I'm like, I really should be sending these to the troops instead of Chad. And then I realized, like, he's standing, like, his spot in line got right next to the table where I was packing up, and I had taped everything up and packed it all already. And then I was about time to write the address on, and then I'm like, I can't do this here because he's not gonna, like, in big letters wrote like Fort Collins on the top or something.
Troops.
Yeah.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, he finds out you're sending it to San Francisco, and he's like, "Wait, do they have like a city named San Francisco in Iraq, or?"
I'm sending these to the troops to the war on liberals, right? And he fist bumped me. No, so I went over to the other table and I just like really small, like I kind of like, it was almost like I was trying to hide my answers from the kid next to me on the test, like writing this random street address in California. And then I put it in the mailbox and I was like, "Yeah, enjoy that, troops." And then I left.
Saluted him.
I definitely felt like I don't have zero idea. There would have been nothing wrong with me just saying, "No, I'm sending this to a friend who can't get these snacks here." But instead, I just outright lied to a kindly old gentleman until the Chad,
you war veteran, because that would be worse.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. He had an old hat on, and it was almost of the style like you see guys wearing like old like Marine and Air Force hats. I really hope it wasn't, because then I would feel horrible. So Chad, you could really do me a solid by just enlisting in the military, and then I don't feel any guilt. You can take them with you to wherever you get deployed.
With the amount of human fecal matter on the streets of San Francisco, it basically is the same as, like, Fallujah or someplace like that.
Yeah, so next segment.
That was my first thought, was like, when I opened the box and like, I'm like, oh, snacks, and I start taking all these snacks out, and then at the bottom there's just this exploded bag of chips, and I'm like, oh, it looks like a war zone. So there you go.
Yeah.
It all ties together.
Yes, all war zones just littered with potato chips.
Yep.
Good thing it didn't go to the troops, because they'd have opened and seen this exploded bag of chips and thought you were just insulting them.
Yeah. They would have opened the box and wondered why I send them a single piece of candy or
take my leftovers, troops.
Here's one Cadbury egg.
Here's half a container of Monticelli.
Pass it around the mess hall.
In short, we do very much here at You Tried That appreciate our troops. I apologize for this time not sending them and lying to a kindly old man. I am not a good person.
We're going to start out by trying a snack that is well known to be sent to troops, and that's roasted seaweed.
Troops, they classically love the seaweed.
All right. The first snack we're going to try today is a Seaweed Love is the name of the company, which is a little strange. And it's the original all-natural roasted seaweed, roasted to perfection with sesame oil and a touch of sea salt. Man, every damn snack we try is boasting the sea salt.
I was going to say, how much more sea salt could we ingest? We're literally like sharks at this point with the amount of sea salt in our mouth.
It's big and flaky.
For new listeners, we have a 5-point rating scale that we will rate these snacks on. If we think something's amazing, we're going to give it a love dat. A like dat would be just below. Indifferent to dat, the middle of the scale. Then a dislike dat. And finally, a hate dat if we really think that it's just garbage. So
if you look at the back, they tell the story. It's another one of these snacks that shares the story. And this one,
of course,
I think we can all relate to, right? The founder of Seaweed Love, Kevin, no. Growing up, I would watch my grandmother carefully roast and season seaweed for the family over a stove to reach the right level of flavor. I think we can all relate to that, right? Didn't you guys sit around the stove and watch seaweed get roasted?
To support the troops.
To support the troops.
Yeah, my grandma would roast a bunch of seaweed and then ship it off to the troops. This is sort of an interesting packaging. Like, you take it out and it's in this little, like, plastic tub. Just a bunch of seaweed pieces just stacked on top of each other loosely in the plastic bin.
They're pretty big seaweed pieces.
This is also made in Korea.
Yeah, I don't know if the best way to eat it, I guess you sort of, like, roll them up like a cigar or something so you can shove them all in your mouth at once.
Oh, so they're not...
They're probably like a 4 inches by 2 inches or something.
Yeah.
And they also come with a little gel pack that, like a do not eat gel pack you get in a shoebox.
I had assumed they were like hard like crackers. I didn't know they were like...
We did eat a seaweed snack earlier on a previous episode. But those were like crackers.
Interesting. These are like cellophane almost.
Yeah, they're very, very thin.
This
like
is
how
the way
many...
I'm used to seeing seaweed.
I don't know how many of these you'd have to eat to even feel remotely full.
Well, the entire package is only 25 calories. That's actually pretty good if you're looking for like sort of a low-calorie, just something to munch on.
It definitely... Like the first bite, I just thought of sushi. It tastes I can almost taste the fish, and even though it's not there, because it's obviously that's a lot of times what they wrap sushi in.
I see you guys like tentatively taking sort of like small bites, whereas I've just been shoving them in like one entire piece at a time into my mouth.
Right. Well, you're a disgusting animal, though.
Yep.
They're salty. That's kind of saving it because the flavor is not great.
Oh, I like the flavor.
I like the flavor too.
All right.
I like seaweed.
Well, and it's also like you said, it's extremely healthy. So non-dairy, gluten-free, no cholesterol. I mean, it's easy to be gluten-free and all that stuff when there's like 6 ingredients, not even.
Right. It's healthy in the fact that there's not much to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not really like. I mean, I've had seaweed in this form before. This is the way I'm most used to seeing it. But it's not like anything else that you generally eat.
Oh.
And I feel like in terms of snacking, this is a pretty recent development to have for people to be eating seaweed, and just within the last decade, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, since you put a whole bunch back, let's start with you.
So this is pretty good. I think it's just basically like a little salt delivery vehicle. There's not a ton of flavor there, but the flavor that is there I like. I'm a fan of seaweed. And I like that it's sort of like a lighter, healthier thing. Like I could probably eat 5 packs of these, and that would be the equivalent of 1 Reese's cup or something like that.
Not even close.
Whereas a Reese's cup, sometimes I'll just put the entire cup in my mouth in one bite just to get that flavor explosion. So this one at least would last me a little bit longer.
Only you could somehow compare this snack to a Reese's cup. There's no way on earth they're in the same spectrum of food stuff.
It's a sickness I have. I'm always thinking about Reese's cups. So, I'm going to give these a like that. It's good.
All right, that's a good start there for the seaweed. Geiger, where are you falling?
I also ate the entire thing. I mean, again, unlike normally when I eat the entire thing and it's indicative of my failings as a human, this is pretty easy to eat a whole thing. Like, there's not much to it. I think as a snack, it only has 2 downsides to me. One is, like you said, like we just said, I don't know how I'd have to eat 7 of these if I was actually hungry and needed to eat something to tide me over. This wouldn't do it because they're so light. And 2 is if you had these, like, say, in an office setting next to like a bunch of Post-it notes and you're just absent-minded eating, you might accidentally eat the paper because they're the same consistency.
I ate a Post-it note.
The taste is great. I really like the taste. I like seaweed, and I like, like I said, it reminded me of sushi, and I like sushi a lot. I like just enough. It's not overly salted. This probably could stand to be overly salted if anything could, like you said, Novak, because there's not a ton of its own flavor, but it's thin enough. They're easy to eat. They're tasty. I love salty snacks. They're healthy. This is a solid like that for me. I really like them.
Oh, well, boys, I'm going to have to...
Let that man come on in the door, Novak.
No, the doorbell's ringing.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to turn him away. Turn on the floodlight.
Is anyone home? Ding dong, ding dong.
This is the rating equivalent of forgetting Friday breakfast.
If somebody had put these out for Friday breakfast, I'd eat them. I'd probably eat them, and I would forgive the person. But I would never purchase these, and I would never snack on them because they're not going to fill me up. And the taste to me is just a little muddy or something. I just don't love the seaweed flavor.
It's too of the earth for you.
That's correct. It's not processed 7 times over. But I would send these to the troops because I know that they would enjoy them.
Not good enough for me, but definitely good enough for those lowly troops.
All stereotypes of a troop aside, what would a troop wouldn't react positively to getting this seaweed?
You'd have to eat 9 metric tons of these to feed a troop.
I mean, maybe not American troops, but if you sent them to, the North Korean troops, they'd probably be pretty happy.
Probably true. I'll agree with that.
So I'm turning away the visitor. I'm yelling, "Get the hell out of here!" from behind the door, and I'm going to give it a dislike that.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Damn.
Man.
So that's 2 likes and a dislike.
I guess Novak doesn't like the troops. All right.
Yeah.
No, I didn't consume everything that my troops so desired, so now I can give them the rest.
So that nailed them a half-open bag of seaweed?
Yeah.
Congrats, man. You're a hero.
At least I'm going to send them something instead of just talk about how I sent them something.
Didn't you hear earlier I sent food to the troops? A troop of dipshits that get on the internet and talk about snacks.
Someone who I bet does highly support the troops as much as we do is Uncle Ray.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to see what Uncle Ray has to offer. To get a little perspective on Uncle Ray, you really have to visit Uncle Ray's website and click up top on Uncle Ray's Way. On Uncle Ray's Way, there are 4 little blurbs talking about what Uncle Ray's Way is. I'm going to share those with you.
Okay.
Actually, there's 5. It starts with, "Dear friend, sure, there's more than one way to skin a potato. Today, the big guys are global, and they tend to dominate the market, sometimes with robots. Yeah, robots."
What? What? No, that's not real.
That's the start. It works for them, but it's not Uncle Ray's way. My way means keeping it simple, taking care of our people, choosing quality ingredients, and making downright great potato chips. Back in 1965, I started making chips my way, and things haven't changed much. We've got more customers, so we make more chips, but we still do it my way. That's me right there on the bag, people.
I thought he was going to say, "We still do it my way, sans robots."
There's no way. What? So how does he do them all by hand? That's not true.
There's still a little bit. It's still simple. We begin with good and end up with a whole lot better. Life's too short for good enough chips. We've heard ours are beyond good. And finally, we'll keep making, no G on it, Uncle Ray's potato chips my way. I think it's a pretty good way. I hope you'll agree. So Uncle Ray is an old codger who doesn't like to change things from 1965.
This is the old get off my lawn chips we're going to eat here. He also, at the end, he has a big thing about how he became to be a cook in the Navy and all that. And at the bottom, it just says thoroughness, paying attention to detail, planning our work, knowing ahead of time the pitfalls that could ruin a project. This is like just eating a giant bag of boring responsibility, it sounds like. This is like the chip that just nags you to get your room clean.
And there's a picture of Uncle Ray punching a robot on the back.
Uncle Ray has a real problem with technology. Like at the bottom, it says there's an UncleRays.com and Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram logos. Do you think that's just Uncle Ray's grandkids that set it up without him knowing and didn't want to tell him?
For sure.
I'm not on the internets, and he just starts spanking them over his knee.
I actually really like this guy.
This is also the official potato chip of minor league baseball, which I saw these at a gas station, and I never have seen them anywhere else before in my life. Have you guys ever seen Uncle Ray's chips until just now?
Never.
I have seen them at gas stations, like traveling. So we do thank Uncle Ray for his service.
Thank you for your service, Uncle Ray, and thank you for your cheesy garlic bread chips that we're about to try.
In theory, this is right up my alley. I love garlic bread. I love chips. I love cheese.
I was
I'm
expecting
hyped.
these chips to look different.
Did you guys try the cheesy garlic bread Lay's flavor that came out a couple years ago?
Yes,
No.
and I loved them.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
I was hoping these chips. So there's no rivets, and there's no like conduits or motherboards. So there's no evidence of robot activity.
They are not shaped like microchips.
I mean, they're using robots to make these things, right?
No robots.
What constitutes a robot other than a machine that works an assembly line? Like, how else are people using robots to make food?
Robots have like arms and legs, and they talk to you, and they're like on the Jetsons.
Yeah, don't you guys watch Westworld?
Well, who's
Yes.
That's what a robot is.
Isn't that just a show about how to make chips?
Yep. Uncle Ray guest stars on tomorrow night's episode.
It's the Uncle Ray's origin story. It started out as a theme park and ended up as a chip factory after the end of season 3.
Yeah, Chad, maybe not for you because your bag got smashed up, but these chips, I don't know about you, Novak, these are gigantic chips.
They're
compared
huge.
to they're like big and round.
I'm actually impressed at how much they're all together. Like, you rarely reach into a chip bag and get this many. We're just taunting Chad. Who only has
I love this
crunch
bag
ups.
just chock full of unadulterated, unblemished chips.
Yeah, mine are all smashed to shit.
Okay, let's talk about the taste here.
Well, that's what I get for moving to San Francisco.
It's not all that cheesy or garlic bready.
Yeah.
I taste a decent amount of garlic.
I can taste garlic and salt.
Yeah.
It's salty and garlicky. I don't taste cheese.
Yeah, no cheese.
I'll
Or
be
bread.
honest. I think that I like the chip consistency, but I think I'd almost prefer a regular Uncle Ray's chip to this garlic bread chip.
I mean, we haven't tried a regular Uncle Ray's chip, so that's a pretty baseless claim you just made there.
I think I'm just craving. I know it's just weird to say, but I'm craving more of a salt, like the cheese and garlic bread flavors taking over whatever that salt flavor that I want from chips. It just doesn't taste all that super salty to me. Like, I need it. I need it more salty.
It's a really well-constructed chip. Like you said, it holds up in your hand. It doesn't break. It's big.
But it did fail the ultimate test, cross-country shipment. When put in the same box with a bag of coffee nut M&Ms and a Cadbury egg, it just fell apart.
Can you imagine what shape they'd be in if I had shipped them to Afghanistan? They would just be powder. They would just be opening a bag and pouring the powder into their mouths.
Let's say these chips had been packaged by a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Would they have exploded on the trip?
Yeah.
No. The answer is no.
You don't think so?
The answer is clearly no to this hypothetical situation, you idiot.
Because their giant, clumsy metal hands would smash the bag when picking it up, and they'd be leaving like batteries and coils and all kinds of tubes.
Yeah, and I talked about this in the intro a bit, that it started by him, Uncle Ray, just selling these things out of the back of his car. And that just, I mean, that wouldn't fly. In 1965, I guess you could. Could you imagine some dude just selling chips out of his trunk? Like, maybe in the slums where Chad lives, but not around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. There is a guy not too far from where I live where he sets up out of the back of his truck, he just cooks burgers. So he like parks his truck on the side of the road and like sets up a grill like outside the back of his truck, and then like in the truck bed he has all the ingredients, right? Like lettuce and tomato, and he puts like ham and fried eggs and stuff on his burgers.
Are they good?
Yeah, they're actually really good. You just go up, but he only has 2 things on the menu, which is like a regular burger patty and then a double burger patty.
And murder?
Right, and then you could get a side of murder.
And Rufinedril?
That's an even crazier thing because it's meat. People barely trust the meat at a restaurant, much less by some guy who had meat in his trunk.
Right.
I would love it if the 2 things were like, look, I only have 2 things. A hamburger and like foie gras stuffed orange roughy or something. Like something super fancy that would be hard to make in a truck.
I don't know. They have food trucks everywhere now, though. Like, maybe they don't have them as much out by you guys, but everywhere around here, there's, like, food trucks. You just see them driving down the street in San Francisco.
You know a food truck isn't a guy with, like, making food in the back of his pickup truck, right?
That guy's the super basic version of a food truck. But they have, like, the fancy ones that sell cupcakes and, like, you know, taco trucks and all those other things.
Chicago has a ton of them, yeah. Like, around lunchtime.
I like when little kids will, like, set up food trucks stand in front of their house and sell lemonade.
And I like walking by and just being like, where's your fancy foie gras lemonade? And then flipping the table over.
Where's your robots?
In San Francisco, are people walking up the lemonade stand, taking a sip, and then going like, is this vegan? And when they say no, just hurling it in their face.
Right.
Don't feed me this swill. Give me my quarter back.
All right.
Yeah, I only drink lemonade packaged by robots. nuts.
Jagger, we're going to start with you. Tell us what you think of the cheesy garlic Uncle Ray's potato chips.
I'm eating a lot of them.
It means nothing.
Yeah, right. A meaningless rating. Look, I think these are, like I said, I'm impressed with how solidly made the chips are. Like they don't disintegrate unless you mail them to California. They're they're kind of crunchy, but not like a Ruffles type chip. They're not like a kettle cooked chip, but they've got a good like chew to them. I think they're good. I will agree they don't taste like garlic bread. They taste like garlic chips, not cheesy garlic bread chips. So whatever the difference there is, I don't know, but I think they're fine. I agree they could be a little saltier, but I like the taste. I like the chip. I'm a sucker for chips anyway. I like this chip as much as Uncle Ray hates computer chips, you could say. You like that?
That clever wordplay that Nick Geiger's known for.
I've only been cooking that up for a good 35 minutes. I will give this a like that.
Normally, I would not always go last, but I've got a sneaking suspicion about where this is headed. So, Chad, I'm going to let you go.
So it's kind of annoys me to agree with Geiger again. That's twice in a row. But yeah, despite the fact that these are probably more stale than they should be. Now, actually, quick chip pro tip. In order to keep these fresh, when I saw that they had been like open for God knows how long, I resealed the bag with like a bag clip and put it in the fridge.
Oh.
So that's a little counterintuitive, but I had read that if you put potato chips in the fridge, it keeps them fresh for longer. So these are still pretty fresh tasting.
What if you just steal that patented Snickers technology and twist
Snickers crisper?
Would that have worked?
I did not do that. Anyways, I think these are decent, not great. The garlic flavor is pretty good. I prefer a crinkle cut fry, or fry, a chip.
I prefer a French fry.
Yeah.
I prefer a medium rare ribeye.
I would like these if they were, a Reese's cup. God, I'm just becoming a caricature of myself at this point. These are going to get a like that from me. I'll stop beating around the bush here. But it's a very mild like that. I could definitely be talked into indifferent.
I agree. I'm not I wouldn't go out of my way to find the gas station again that I found these in.
Yeah.
But I like if I had some, I'll eat them. They're good.
All right.
Don't break.
This is why I let Chad go, because I am not answering the door today.
Don't you have an Uncle Ray?
I do have an
Uncle Ray. He's going to feel so bad.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't think it's fair to give this thing 3 like that's. To eat this, it just doesn't accurately reflect what these chips are. Now, we've given, the things we've given welcome visitors to are 10 times better than this. I would never get this chip. There's 100 other bags of chips I would get over this one.
Name them. Name all 100.
No, I just bunch of them. I just ate a bunch, but I would never get them again, and it doesn't taste that cheesy, and it doesn't taste that garlic bready. So I would be just liking it on the fact that it's a potato chip, which is not...
But okay, but look, let's say either Chad and I had said indifferent or dislike. Would you then be more inclined? Is it just the fact that you don't want to put it in the club, or you don't like the chip?
No, I knew it was, I was going to probably be indifferent anyway. I guess if you both said hate, then I would maybe overcorrect the other way or something.
Why are you letting our ratings influence yours?
You realize you're not going to make Uncle Ray a millionaire by saying like that.
I'm going against the peer pressure here. This is pressure to let Uncle Ray in. You look here through the people, and there's an old serviceman waiting to get inside. You think I feel good about locking him out?
He's standing there with his truck. He's like, come on, I'm just trying to sell these out of the back of my truck. Why won't you let me make a livelihood?
Yeah, but right then and there, he would see Novak flying his drone in the backyard and start screaming, robot, and start shooting it.
I have to go indifferent. I really wanted to like them. I did so bad, but there's nothing all that likable about them. It's just sort of eating the plainest potato chip that I've ever had in my life. So,
like I said, I'm sort of just barely into like that. To me, actually, the garlic is the thing that pushed it up. If it didn't have the garlic flavor, I would have gone indifferent also.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna hate on you too much for that rating.
I'm giving you crap. Yeah, I'm closer to indifferent than I am to love that, obviously. But Novak, didn't you say, so you said it was too plain for you, but that you would prefer a plain regular chip. So I don't know exactly.
There's just because I don't taste any of the flavors they're promoting. And I don't taste the salt. So to me, I don't know what it is. It's just not doing it for me.
You have something against thoroughness.
You guys please admit to me that if you went to the store you would never get these chips, right? Because there's so many other ones you like way better.
What kind of store? Did I go to like a printer store and that's the only food there?
Did I go to Uncle Ray's truck?
You're in a race truck. He's got.
Did I pull over to the side of the road and went up to the trunk of Uncle Ray? And they're like, no, I'd rather have the tire iron. Give me that.
To be honest, I would actually pick this over most Lay's flavors. This tastes like just sort of like a little bit. It tastes a little bit healthier to me than like some of those more overly processed kind of Lay's ones. So that's probably a ridiculous thing to say.
That's probably why I don't like it.
I'm here to tell you it's not.
To answer your question, I wouldn't pick these because I would pick a Ruffles or something over it. I'd pick a Reese's Cup.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm with you, Nova. I said I would probably pick a Lay's or a Ruffles or Dorito. Like, there's several other chips that I would pick before these. But I also like them.
Here's the thing. I think I don't feel that differently about these chips than you guys do. I think I'm just rating it a little more harshly.
It's just.
I mean, Geiger, you have to give one rating down for everything Geiger rates anyway. So
okay. And you got to give one rating up for everything Chad has, because anything he mildly dislikes, he puts in the pits of hell.
It sounds to me like somebody's a little surly because they didn't have their Friday breakfast.
I'm holding on. It was a mere days ago, so I'm definitely not over it. And so I just locked an old man out in the cold. So we're gonna move on to a segment, and it's a You Drank Dat. So Chad, why don't you take us through?
So we hadn't done anything in the fruit juice realm, so I thought we would try out some naked juice. Now, I have a little bit of a history with naked juice. Just want to tell this funny story real quick. So they used to have naked juice at work. They don't anymore, but I used to drink one every single morning. I would be the first thing I'd grab when I'd come in. The flavors I really liked were like some of the berry type flavors, so like strawberry banana or berry blast were my two favorites. And one morning I had a very early meeting with some folks from the India office. I got there super early, grabbed my berry blast, went into the meeting room. You gotta shake it up before you drink it. So I had given it like a quick shake, taken off the lid, and then like taken a sip, and then set it back down on the table in the meeting room. Dialed into the video conference, and while I was waiting for the folks from the remote office to dial in, I forgot that I had taken the lid off already. So I just grabbed it to give it another quick shake, and the berry blast went everywhere, just launched all over the room. And it's like bright red. And so then right after that happens, the person comes onto the VC, and they just see me standing in this room, and just red stuff everywhere. It looks like a murder scene. Like, it looks like I just killed, like I stabbed someone badly, and the blood was flying all over the room. And they had this horrified look on their face, like, what's going on?
Oh, that's the famous Berry Blast offense from the murder trial.
Right. So anyways, this flavor we're going to try today is called Green Machine. And the reason I thought this would be good was because I haven't tried any of these sort of greener ones before. Now, I'm not totally sure what makes this green, because the juice is apple, mango, pineapple, banana, and kiwi.
It's all the boosted stuff. If you look on
it's like broccoli and alfalfa.
Garlic.
Yeah, and so actually that's the other thing about naked juice. The reason I don't really drink naked juice anymore, so this one is still boosted. It has this boost, but naked juice used to boost all of their juice flavors. So like the Berry Blast, I remember, they would add in all these vitamins and stuff. So like one jar was like 300% of your vitamin C or something like that.
Gross.
And then at some point, maybe 5-6 years ago, to cut costs, they stopped doing that.
Oh.
And so now it's just the fruit juice. So I feel like now when I drink it, I'm just getting sugar with like no extra vitamins.
Got it. I probably like you, I mostly drank the fruity ones, blue and red flavored ones. I definitely went through a phase when I had them frequently, and then we got a very expensive blender, and so now I pretty much make my own stuff at home. But I still do. I've generally enjoyed most of the naked juices that I've had before.
I don't typically drink them. I just drank one. Ironically, it was weird that you suggested we do it. I just grabbed one the other day, and I think it was the berry one. And it was good. I liked it. So this smells
good.
Different though. You can definitely smell like it has like a more vegetable smell to it. I know that makes no sense.
It does smell like a naked juice. Like they have a certain smell to them.
Yeah.
Okay, Chad. How are we gonna rate these?
This is more of like an audio-based rating system.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Green Machine flavor, so I thought we could rate it based on some green or green adjacent songs. So I have some audio here to play for you guys. So our top rating here is going to be... Let's make sure this works. Can you guys hear that? You know that song?
It's a Sandlot song.
Yeah, so this song is called Green Onions. So our top rating is going to be Green Onions because Sandlot's a really good movie. Middle rating is this.
It's not easy being green.
Wait, that's the middle rating?
Yes, middle rating, it's not easy being green. You'll find out when you hear the bad rating. So the bad rating, I gotta fast forward maybe a little bit. I don't know, maybe you'll recognize it. So remember, this can be green adjacent.
3 Doors Down?
Yeah, this is 3 Doors Down.
Yeah.
So this song is actually called Kryptonite. Gotta get some good Kryptonite! Okay, so that song is dog shit, so that's gonna be the worst.
Because Kryptonite's green?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's an easy thread.
There's got to be a 1,000 songs with the word green in the
I
title.
actually brought up a list of like songs with the word green in the title, and like I didn't like any of it as much as using Kryptonite.
There's
It is a terrible song, so it's
Green
pretty
Day. There's Al Green. Yeah, no, but you're correct. That's a shitty song.
All right, let's partake.
It's a song that no one has ever been naked to, I think.
So I don't really taste the broccoli or spinach or any kale or anything like that. So
You wanted to?
I don't either.
no, I definitely did not want to taste kale.
What do you guys think about kale? Kale is like the new superfood. Everyone wants to put it in. I've had it. I hate it. It's so bitter.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's horrible. How Kryptonite is as a song, that's how kale is as a food.
The Nickelback of the vegetable world.
Right. I feel about kale like Uncle Ray feels about robots.
Yes.
Or probably what Uncle Ray feels about kale.
Right.
And actually, this is called the Green Machine, which Uncle Ray would also hate.
I used to make my smoothies by hand and then pour them in the bottle in the back of my trunk. Did you ever buy a smoothie on the side of the road from Uncle Ray?
All right, I will start us off here. I love The Sandlot. It's one of my favorite movies. I also love Kermit the Frog, and I hate 3 Doors Down.
Wait, what?
That's it.
Is that the rating you're gonna
No,
give?
I want to go ahead and play it while I rate it.
Great. I'll fast forward.
I'm giving this rating a green onion because I love this. That's enough.
Okay.
What is wrong with us? What happened?
Wow, so you really love it that much, huh?
Yeah, well, on a 3 rating scale, I would definitely drink this. I think it tastes really good. Better than I thought. The downside, and they even write, looks weird on the front. It's a super off-putting color to drink, but that's just the reality of drinking smoothies. So I'm going to stick with my green onions. Chad, what do you think?
I also like this significantly more than I expected. It does look gross. I probably never would have bought this if we weren't specifically looking for something to taste. So yeah, for me, this is going to get a... This gets a green onion for me. Yeah, this is good.
I want to see you try to put this in a graph on the website. I'm with you in that.
You're with us in that you like The Sandlot?
Right. The Sandlot's a good movie. 3 Doors Down is a shitty band, and Kermit the Frog is entertaining.
You're killing me, Smalls. Let's just quote Sandlot for the rest of this episode.
That's the only line I know is "You're killing me, Small." So
The jet's still home.
look at all these lots made of sand. No,
That's the famous line. Yeah, Dennis Leary says that.
no, it's really just about land development, correct? If I were to go pick out a naked juice, I would probably still not grab this one. I probably still would get the berry ones. However,
That's true.
this tastes good. It's good for me. Crank up green onions, my friend.
Do, 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 do.
Uh-huh.
When I was coming up with this, I was trying to brainstorm with my wife, like, oh, what's a good song? And she goes, what's that one from The Sandlot? And I immediately knew what she was talking about. We both just started going, doo 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 doo. Like, we knew exactly.
How did she know that was called green onion? I never would
I
have
don't
been
know
able to,
how
like,
she knew that, yeah.
Well, this is a highly recommended drink,
Yeah.
so I guess go out and get yourself a green machine. That's
This also-
our best Drank Dat. It went a little better than the kombucha episode.
This also breaks up the streak of Novak resembling another green creature, Oscar the Grouch, being all crabby. Hating all over these foods.
I'll tell you what, things are not pointing in the right direction with these coffee nut M&Ms coming up either. So
And also, it doesn't point in the right direction, the fact that you just climbed into a garbage can.
that's true. And that I have a worm. What the hell is this worm's name? Smiley?
I don't know why
He
I
has
did
a
that
worm?
so quickly.
Yes. What's the name of his Smiley?
Smiley. I was going to say, what's the name of his penis? It's still Smiley.
Novak, you are a regular can man. It's a joke no one will get.
Well, let's explain it anyway. Chad and I once went for Halloween as two Sesame Street characters in these big mascot outfits. When Chad was looking for his costume at the store, they had all kinds of crazy names for the characters because they didn't have the rights to use the actual names. And so Oscar the Grouch's name was Can Man, and I went as Cookie Monster, and his name was Big Fur.
And the other names were just ridiculous. Like, instead of Big Bird, his name was Fantasy Bird. And then they didn't want to use the name Yoda, so he was Wise Troll.
I also love Boy Samson and Girl Samson.
for Bart and Lisa Simpson.
And then wasn't it Ernie and Bert were like Bernie and Earl or something like that? My favorite one is Fantasy Bird because they had so many. It could have been like Large Bird, Yellow Bird, but like Fantasy Bird sounds distinctly creepy. Oh, and FYI, I wore a terrible Spider-Man costume with gym shorts for paint.
Yeah, that's right.
And I didn't bring any other shoes, so I had Doc Martens on. I look like an asshole. But I will say, I picked up these coffee nut M&Ms on purpose because I really, spoiler alert, I've had these before and I like them a lot. I love chocolate. I love coffee. This is a peanut M&M that is coffee flavored. They're made with Altera brand coffee. I know you guys don't love coffee, so it's a little bit of an off-road hill. But it's not like drinking a cup of coffee. It's not like...
I hate coffee, but I love peanut M&Ms. It's potentially my favorite M&M. So this is going to be two worlds at war here. Now these are colored in three: a dark brown, a lighter brown, like a tan, which is similar to the color that used to be on the original tan M&M, and then there's a super light brown, almost off-white type of thing.
Are these all peanut on the inside, or do they have other kinds of nuts?
No, they're all peanut, I think.
Oh man, I can even smell the coffee.
They smell worse than they taste. Well, they're pretty good at first, and then there's a little coffee kick sort of at the tail end.
Oh,
You also have to remember most of the people listening to this enjoy coffee. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I'm disappointed. Oh, man.
Man, I thought they might taste like strawberry. I was so upset. No, I'm just saying, don't listen to these guys, everyone. You all enjoy coffee. You enjoy chocolate. You're going to like them.
They're not that they are kind of. I don't know.
I get like the great flavor of the peanut M&M,
Yeah.
and then the coffee kicks in.
I will start us off. They're better than I thought. I will give it that. And that is solely because the coffee flavor isn't that strong.
Yep.
And it doesn't hit you until you're, I'd say, 3/4 way through
The bag.
the M&M.
The bag.
Right. Just like I only picked 3/4 way because of Chad's 3/4 cake. But and I will put an asterisk by this. I just don't like coffee or coffee flavored things. So if you like coffee, I would say you would probably like these because you still get the goodness of the peanut M&M in there. However, I don't like coffee, so I can't in any good conscience give this anything but a dislike. I don't hate them. I could probably eat a bunch of them if I had to. So I don't want to spit them out or anything, but dislike is where I have to fall. Chad, what do you think?
Did you guys ever do this where you would take, like, when you're eating M&Ms, you would take two of them out of the bag at the same time, and then push them up against each other, and then squish them together to see which one wins? And then, like, whichever one gets broken apart, that's the one you eat?
I had friends.
I used to do that with M&Ms for, like, the entire bag. So that, like, the one that lasted, like, was the last one that I would eat, you know?
Wait, so if one of the M&Ms won, did he, like, continue on? Was it?
That's right. Then he goes on and fights the next contender.
Okay.
That's psychotic.
Or she. It's 2018. Women can be M&Ms too. Hashtag feminism.
They have every right to be squished into a male M&M until they break.
Yeah, I pretty much second Novak. These things, I expected them to be just absolute dog shit. The coffee is very mild, mercifully so. So I'm just going to go dislike that.
All right, Geiger. It's only a matter of like or love, actually, at this point.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I knew you guys wouldn't like them, but I had mentioned them, but
I gave them to you anyway.
I mean, I can't bring when I'm picking on snacks, I just can't keep bringing all these hippie breakfast bars and potted meat and everyone else's fan favorites. I got to bring some like populist food that everyone's into. It's a love that. I love these. I like coffee a lot, right? So that's part of it. And I like M&Ms. Regular peanut M&Ms are actually not even probably in my top 5 M&M. I know that's a controversial take. You guys like peanut M&Ms, but these are really good. I could eat a whole bag of these. It's a love that.
All right, a big recommendation. So if you like coffee, you probably will like them, as Chad and I both agreed, even though we said dislike. But Uncle Ray, even though I left him out in the cold, he is the winner. So he's out in the cold holding his trophy.
Because of this win, may now have enough money to go buy a much bigger truck, which a much bigger trunk, and to double the size of his operations.
Yep.
All right, that went over well, huh?
Make an Uncle Ray robot crack.
Okay.
Thank you for rating our chips highly.
Yeah, well, what is Uncle Ray going to do when he realizes that Chad's a robot? He's going to be like, does not compute.
This is going to be one of those things like where at the end you find out that Uncle Ray is a robot.
No spoiler alerts, but that was actually exactly what happened in the first episode of the second season of Westworld. At the end, Jeffrey Wright just looked at the camera and he goes, Uncle Ray's actually a robot, and then it cut to the credits. Made no sense, but until just now.
It just crunched down in a chip.
And then it turned into an infomercial for chips and Thronis.
So that takes us to the end of the episode, and the winner, Uncle Ray, for this week. So we'll be back next time to bring in 3 new snacks. Guys.
Deuces.
Yep.